Welcome to Suitcase Divas podcast. This is episode 24. My name is Denise Diobaldi with Redbirds Travel.
And I'm Cheryl Garcia with ABCD Adventures.
Yeah, so today we are going to talk about travel trends 2024, right, Cheryl?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to go first. So these are some interesting, this just trendy things that people are looking to do in 2024. The first one is Astro Adventures. Do you know what that is, Cheryl? Astro Adventures.
It sounds very interesting, and I'm not super familiar with it, but I know that it's been a buzzword going around lately. So tell me what it is.
Yeah, so astrotourism is the act of traveling with the aim of catching the sight of an astronomical phenomenon. So think, astronomy. You're looking at stars, you're looking at constellations, you love comets and all that good stuff. So I will tell you one of the big things that's happening is April 8th, 2024. There is going to be a solar eclipse, and it's going to be the last solar eclipse that will be passing over North America until 2044. So looks like you want to get in on this one if you are all about astrotourism. So they do say so increasingly wellness-centric hotels and spas are creating space for guests to gaze upwards and look for comets, constellations. And like in the UK, they opened a lookout bubble and it's got a glass dome allowing guests to sprawl out on king-size beds and look at the stars. It's interesting.
Interesting. Yeah. Is there a bar out there with that too?
I can hope so. Yeah. And so this solar eclipse, it's interesting. It's catching a lot of buzz. And actually, Delta has a flight that you can take off from Austin, Texas, and land in Detroit, Michigan. And it follows the whole eclipse in its totality. So that would be pretty cool.
Yeah,
I'd be interested to know what what that flight is going for. So yeah, apparently the solar eclipse is going to be a big deal, whether you're on a flight or whether you're just renting an Airbnb. It's got a got a glass to see all the constellations and see it going on. Do you remember how long ago was it when it was a big to do about the solar eclipse?
Right, because it was coming part. Yeah.
The glasses all sold out. What do you remember what year that was? It seems like it was early 2000s, right? Maybe 2000 2000.
Well, no, it had to have been, I was about to say 2000, around 2010, I'm thinking.
Yeah,
But I think of how old the kids were and where they were in school. But I do remember the big deal, and I remember everybody making plans to go find the best spot because it was coming close to us. You could drive like an hour away and be really in it, I think it was.
Yeah, somewhere out in the mountains for us. But I also recall they were telling people, like, do not look at the sun. You will fry your eyes. Like, if you should not have to really tell people that though, seriously. But
I wouldn't have thought, because I think that's good to tell people, because I wouldn't have thought looking up when it's shaded or covered, you're fine. But I think it's when people are watching it go across, you don't think about it. You think you're going to be fine.
Apparently there were knockoff glasses sold. And so people are looking at the thing and it's damaging their eyes and they sued some of these glasses companies because they were not safe. They weren't really like legit glasses that you could look at the eclipse.
Right.
So remember that being a thing. So just be careful if you're getting glasses this time, or make sure it's through a legit vendor. And that is coming up on April 8th. So
if you want to make plans, I'd start now for sure.
Yes, was it 2024? Plans already. You should contact your travel agent as soon as possible.
Right. So another trend, and this is one I personally do and love to do. It's TV or movie show destination travel. So in an article by Expedia Group, it's called their Unpacked 24, the Trends in Travel survey. More than half of the travelers have researched or booked a trip to destination after seeing it on a TV show or movie. And 1 in 4 admit that TV shows and films are even more influential on their travel plans than they ever were before. And I bet that
Nice.
has a lot to do with one, the availability and types of shows that are out there, and the fact that we were on lockdown for a while. People really got into
Right.
learning about these
Like
kinds of
White
things.
Lotus, those sets were amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's something that I've done when I go places because I love TV and movies. I do look to see what I can do. And the last one I did was in Atlanta and Griffin, The Walking Dead, and some of their other things. But here are some inspired movie and TV destinations that are popular now and have been popular. So
Okay.
Scottish Highlands, where do you think that, what show do you think? You're not a big TV person, so
Not a big TV person, so it's probably all gonna
that's
be
from
Immerse.
Outlander. So Outlander made now the Scottish Highlands, I think, have always been because as a reader, I've read so many books, and that's just been a beautiful imagined destination in my head. But I think Outlander gave it a visual, and they have Outlander themed tours there. The other
Okay.
one, and I just started watching the show, I'm behind the times on this, is Bridgerton. Bridgerton made Bath in the UK very popular. The popular Netflix series has given the city an economic boost of about $1.9 million.
Nice.
Yeah, so it said when I was doing my research on it, instead of going to London, some are venturing out a little bit further to Bath. And again, that's another popular destination I've seen or read in lots of books. This one was
Nice.
interesting. I didn't know this. The Redwood National Park near Crescent City, California, is very popular in and of itself because of its beauty and just the redwoods as a destination for just outdoor adventures
I
and
know about
that.
Twilight, those Twilight movies and books and stuff out
That
in Washington.
yeah, but that wasn't this. This is the
Oh, where
redwood.
is this at?
This is in California, Crescent City, California.
Okay. Okay.
Um, This was from Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. And this was the
Lost
Ewoks'
Disney.
home. And I loved the Ewoks when this all first came out. But what else was filmed there? The shoot battle, or let's see, they were picked to shoot the battle scenes in Endor as well as Leia and Luke's speeder chase. So if you're familiar with it, I didn't know that any of Star Wars
Never
was
watched
filmed.
Star Wars. I could be the only
So
one, but I've never ever
I
watched a
thought
Star
that was very unique and interesting and trying to get others there. Another reason to go to see the redwoods because they're, like I
I
said,
think
gorgeous in and of
the
themselves.
reason I brought up Twilight, even though it's not the right state, it's the point was everybody goes there and they went to that beach where the kids went on the thing. So
Right.
that is a very touristy place to go based on the books and the movies of
Yeah.
Twilight.
And I think that's Forks, Washington.
Yes.
I think that's what
Hmm.
that is. And here's another one for the last one that I have. There are so many, but I tried to pick some unique ones, some that I hadn't expected to see, and this was one of them. The Timberland Lodge in Mount Hood, Oregon, which is the Overlook Hotel in The Shining.
Oh,
Yes. And not only can you, as fans, go and visit this famous movie location, you can actually stay overnight.
fuck that.
So I
Would
thought
you
that
do
was
that?
really cool.
You
I
would
love
you do that, Cheryl?
oh, absolutely. I love the haunted things. And I love anything to do with that's movies and TV culture. I just enjoy the behind the scenes of it and seeing what is there and then how they turned it into movie magic or TV magic. Like it because it changes. So when I was doing the research for this, I found President Snow's house from Hunger Games. I found like there was just so many that I hadn't known about because I just
Right.
kind go and visit when I go somewhere there are a couple websites that if and I have to look them up and maybe put them on all of our stuff. And it will tell you if there's been anything filmed around there. I do know there is one town where it's for the movie Popeye, which I loved. Um, they built the town and then abandoned it. So I think the town beside it or incorporated it for the movie. They kept it, and I think it's like a big tourist attraction. But there's so many places like that. And there's a couple websites that will walk you through where to go. So I thought that was pretty neat.
Cool. All right. All right. Well, so then moving on to another trendy travel 2024 destination. Well, not necessarily destination, but I'll say it is eco diving. So, Rise divers choosing to travel to destinations based on sustainability of scuba centers and having more positive regenerative impact on the ocean once there. So, this is cool. You know how I'm all about being green, having a small footprint, trying to recover some of the damage that we've done overall to our world. So they're talking about, so do you know what PADI stands for? That's a scuba term.
I do
It's
not. I'm not familiar with scuba.
Professional Association of Diving Instructors. So
Okay.
they launched an Eco Center accreditation on World Earth Day last year. And a lot of people, the United Nations Environmental Program for Reef, it's talking about conservation of the reefs. And they're going to be doing a really big thing for Earth Day 2024. So it's also saying like the areas that they offer it is like in the Caribbean, they offer coral reef replanting programs to regenerate the coastlines. Baja, Mexico, they've developed citizen science courses collecting data for whale conservation. So these divers, not only are they checking on the reef and replanting stuff in the coral reef, they're also acting as citizen scientists because they're collecting data on whales that are tagged, and not just whales, stuff like global shark and rake census. So I just think that's really cool, and it actually has inspired me. I loved snorkeling down in Cozumel. It was just so magical being under the
Mhm.
water. It's just so peaceful. I mean, unless in the back of your mind, I'm like, I hope I don't get eaten by a shark. That's a big deal. But outside of that, if you just let yourself go and you're just watching the fish and looking at the coral, it's just so peaceful and amazing. And while snorkeling is fun, I think scuba's got to be so much cooler, next level shit. So, with that in mind, what do you say? I'm looking for a buddy I want to be Patty's certified. I want to do scuba, and then
You
we could
want to
do a
get
scuba dive.
you want to get
And that,
scuba certified. I think
yeah,
that's awesome. I'm always down for an adventure, so I will absolutely be your scuba diving buddy and get certified, and then let's plan a
and
scuba trip.
then I will tell you this, I'm super excited because I was recently quoting a cruise package for people that like scuba, and Virgin Voyages has some amazing, they're one of the only cruise lines that have scuba excursions. There's a lot of snorkeling ones out there, but Virgin Voyages on the ones down in Mexico, Cozumel, down in that area, they actually have legit like 4-hour excursions for scuba. So
Nice.
I think that once we are certified, we should celebrate with a Virgin Voyage cruise. And we can tie it into like an anniversary or something like that too.
I'm absolutely down for that. I think it would be great, and I know we have a scuba school nearby, so we could check that
We
out.
do.
And
So
I'm dying to go on a Virgin Voyage cruise. I have,
absolutely. So it's win-win. Okay. Pinky
yes.
promise. We're
All
doing that.
right, I got you.
2024
I'm putting
on
that on our
trend.
calendar.
Yes.
So another interesting travel trend for 2024 is music tourism.
I
Now
could see that.
and this is very interesting because when I first saw this information about this trend, I was like, okay, I didn't quite understand. So apparently, music tourism is the act of visiting a city or town to see a music festival or other performance. Um, and I'm sure you all know about like the Taylor Swift thing and that's
Yes.
kind of, I think, what this has been around for a very long time,
Well, it's been
music
around for a long
tourism.
time, but her Eras tour has been amazing
Right.
for I
So
mean, wherever she
they
goes.
Yeah, so that kind of brought, I think, it aware of that it actually had a name. But when I
Yeah.
was doing some research on it, I found out that they like to call themselves the world's largest music festival is Summerfest. Oh man, and I think I actually have to go back and look where it was located. Is it in Wisconsin or
I
Montana?
was gonna be like, is it in the US?
It is in the US.
Okay.
I'll look that up real quick. But
Hmm.
it was oh, it's in Milwaukee.
Milwaukee. That's probably like the only thing there, right?
I think Milwaukee's got some things, but I was surprised at its location. So it takes
That's
place,
cool.
June 20th through 22nd. And I think it started, oh, I should have wrote all this down. I just thought it was very interesting. In because I think it was 1968 or 86. I was 68, I believe.
Wait, that's way back when the biggest festival was? What about
Yeah,
like
hold
Woodstock?
on, let me confirm.
I thought Woodstock had to be up there.
I'm sure it was. It might not have been the biggest at the time. Let me look it up because I found it on,
Interesting.
and when
I
I
was not,
was
let me just
looking,
correct myself. I was not trying to throw Milwaukee under the bus. It did kind of, and I do apologize about that.
yeah, 19th first held in 1968. That's right. I thought I had
What
read
was the attendance on that?
that. Now comparable to like Woodstock. So the history, let's see. So it has a couple different stages and obviously it's grown. So in 1968, okay, it says it approximately attracts 800,000 people each year, which would not have been in 1968. I don't see offhand. I'll have to look it up and put it in our notes because I don't want
Yeah,
to read
interesting.
all this. But this year it's being held June 20th through the 22nd, 27th through the 29th, and July 4th through the 6th, 2024. Here's some of the lineup. I was very impressed by one, all the people going, and then the variety that they have. So they have like Kane Brown, Motley Crue, Tyler Childers, Keith Urban, Goo Goo Dolls, REO Speedwagon. Like I was
Okay.
super impressed by the variety that they offered.
That
And
is quite a variety.
right, according to a study by the World Travel Market, the global music tourism market is expected to reach 11.5 billion by
Nice.
2028.
Well,
And
in
it's
some of these places, it's cheaper to fly over to a location than to get a ticket here in the United States,
well, and
correct?
that's kind of what happened with Beyonce and Taylor Swift. I believe with Beyonce's tour, I might not be correct on my dates, but I believe she opened up overseas, so people from the US went over there to see it first, and then she came here. I'm not quite sure the timeline there, but I do know that that
Yeah.
started that one. And then with Taylor Swift, obviously it was so hard to get tickets here in the US, and then
Yeah.
people were finding out that by going to one of her concerts overseas, it was comparable, if not cheaper, to buy your plane and your accommodations and the ticket. It was cheaper to do that or equal than buying just a ticket here on the state side, which
That's
is
bananas.
crazy. So
That's
it's
crazy.
not just music tourism's not just limited to attending the live performances. Sometimes it's including the music related attractions, such as like Elvis Presley's home. It just escaped my brain.
Graceland,
Graceland. I was gonna say Heartland, but I know that's a TV show. And I knew that was
Havarti.
right. Yes. So, but it's doing things like that, going to studios and visiting that. But yeah, so I thought music tourism having a name to it, I did not know what the name of it was, but as I was researching it, how long it's been going on, how much it's grown in the variety of types of travel that people are willing to do or wanting to do surrounding music and all the artists and all the locations that these things have been going on. I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. Right. And everybody loves to go to concerts. That's like the cool
Right?
trendy thing to do. Um, except for me, I'm such a pansy. I don't like to be in crowds. Ever since I had that one crowds, riots, and disasters course in college, that changed me. Like when
I
people get
like concert, but
this
I'll tell you, I
stampede.
much prefer a lawn seat. If I have the option to buy a lawn seat, I will buy a
Yeah,
lawn
that's
seat.
what. So we have it pretty sweet here because we have. Is it still? It's not Verizon anymore.
No, it's
What?
PNC,
Yeah. So
PNC
we have a
Amphitheater.
stadium like what, 15 minutes from here,
Yeah,
and
and then there's
they
another
have good
one in
concerts.
Uptown, another
A lot
amphitheater
of
in Uptown. Yeah,
it's a nice area, nice venue that has a lot of lawn seats and stuff
right.
like that. If you don't like being down there with the masses, then
Yeah.
that could really be for you. Okay, so then my next category is trend six, going on trains and buses. So I will say that I'm working on a couple trips and I sent the Star family over to UK. I think it tends the Real Bookers is a vendor that I used a lot and
So
it kind
explain
of
what a train trip would be though, for those that are listening. Like what entails a train trip?
well, so like you can go to different parts or they actually skip from country to country. On here you can go on a train and go from like Boston to DC or you can just anywhere you go. But the trendy thing that they're doing with the trains now is the train stations have caught on to the fact that it says nowadays travel delays have increased. Visitors are wanting a more local experience. So train stations have welcomed travelers with shops, restaurants, bars for them to explore. Um, and historic train stations are being revamped with bespoke food and drink offerings as an integral part of their redesign. So it's like they're putting in all these trendy restaurants in like New York's the Central Station, and there's one in London or Toronto also has one Union Station.
Mhm.
UK has Platform One. So they're putting in all these trendy bars and stuff to hang out if you're in between traveling or if you are, that's not their destination. They're just trying to make it better. I will say, like, for the trips that I'm speaking of, like, I'm booking one for Italy right now for a client, and it's just nice to be able to get from point A to point B. And a lot of times that's overnight. So you're actually traveling and getting to your destination. So you're sleeping and you're traveling overnight. That's a really cool thing that they're doing now with the buses too. So there's a few different bus companies that are doing the thing where you get on at night and you're essentially all that time you're sleeping, you're actually moving and getting to your point of destination. So then you haven't wasted a day of your vacation by traveling there, whether it's flying or driving. A lot of time is wasted in a car or on a flight to get to these faraway destinations. So it's kind of like putting the best of the worlds together. So, but for example, if you're interested in learning more about it, Napaway, Flixbus, Megabus, and Smart Travel Lux sleepers are all different kinds of vendors if you're interested in checking more out about like traveling on the bus to get to a point A and point B, and you're sleeping on the bus while you're getting there. Like, what do you think of that concept?
I think that's awesome. Having traveled on a bus or just a regular old charter bus for hours and hours, the idea of having a nice, either whether it's the bed or the really nice reclining seats, and the space and not having to
Yeah, you
drive.
get your own like charge ports. You each get your own
Yes.
charge ports, and they give you like little areas. You get like a pillow and blankie and stuff like that. So it makes, especially if they're long drives or whatever, it's giving you your own comfy little space to branch out in so that it makes the travel more pleasant.
Right. I think that's great. And we are actually going to do an Amtrak train trip from
Yep.
right outside Charlotte up to Raleigh when we go to a work event and kind of let you guys know how that is. Instead, we could drive, but we're going to take advantage of the train and check it out and see how that works out. Because I've not been on Amtrak. I know my daughter
I've
used to
not
get back
been
and
on
forth
Amtrak
from
either.
college.
Yeah.
Both of my girls
Mhm.
did, but I've not been on Amtrak. And I know they offer like vacations and like they just like the buses get you from point A to point B without the uncomfortableness of driving all the
And
time.
traffic. I mean, how many times have we been stuck on 85 and 95 with a 5 car pileup? Like, I think it's, going to be cool to just hop on the Amtrak on the train and then you just head down the rail. We're not looking
Right.
at, we're not looking at traffic
I'm
or anything
looking
like that.
forward to
It's
trying
straight
it
to the spot.
out and we'll report back and let you guys know what we think
Yes,
of
we
train
surely
travel.
will. Yep, that's
Okay,
what
so
we'll do.
that takes us into our last one, which this was very interesting. It's called home swapping.
Kind of
So
like that movie, The Holiday, where
yes,
they switch spots.
which
Yeah.
that's kind of where I first heard about it was from that movie and never really thought of it as a US based thing. I do believe it was something that they had overseas, but I didn't think of it as a US based thing. But what is swapping? Home swapping is basically two people or families um agreeing to swap their home for an agreed upon time.
Yeah.
And I thought that was very, very interesting concept. So what are the benefits of home swapping? So you get a more authentic travel experience because you're usually going to be looking for something that's more involved in the city versus or in the area that you're visiting versus staying at like a touristy spot. You're going to save on accommodations. Sometimes there are costs in that swapping, but that's usually agreed upon between the swappers or the company that they use. I
I
know.
don't know
I'm
why that
trying to.
term is making me giggle. I'm just clearly delirious.
Right. But the other good thing, and this is what I thought about was great, and it was a good point that I hadn't thought of. Someone's going to be in your home. So they can watch your dogs, they can water your plants. Your home is not being left for 10 days if you're going on an extended trip. It's not vacant, which you're saving on, not only are you saving on accommodations, but you're also saving on having to hire a dog sitter or someone to check your mail or cut the grass or whatever. Not that your swappers might want to cut your grass, but and then the other perk is obviously, you're staying at a home, so it should have everything that you need from the cooking to the bedding to the toys for kids, things like that. And then some swappers swap things like their cars, their bikes, if they have passes to like a ski
Interesting.
resort or a local pool. Um, so I thought that was very interesting. There are a couple of companies that offer this service. Oh, and I printed the wrong page out. So let me read this off my computer because I thought this was interesting. So most of the companies online have a vetting process and application as well as a membership fee, which I thought was very good because they are vetting who they're swapping with.
Right.
And it's not like an exclusive club, but they are making sure the people
You don't
there,
want to have somebody trash your place that,
right, or has a
they
history
have
of
to have a good
whatever.
rep.
So, and there's a membership fee, so you kind of have to have some skin in the game, which I appreciate that they're doing that. If I'm going to be letting strangers in my home and the company I'm using, I think they're doing a pretty good job. There is a trend going on TikTok right now with hashtag house swap or hashtag home swap. And there's a bunch of views with that, and they're talking about it. I will say it's not as big in the US as it is overseas, but I do
Right.
see from the articles that I've read that it is steadily growing. My and some of the things I've read, and I will absolutely say this to all our listeners, don't just go out there and do it on your own unless it's someone you know, because that does seem to be what's happening on TikTok. People are getting connected with each other with the house swap and home swap hashtags and then working that out just to kind of save some of the fees. The reason why you pay those fees to those sites is because there is a vetting process and application process. So I think overall home swapping is great for experiencing something new, saving some money, also having your home taken care of. So
Yeah,
it's
that's not a bad
great
idea.
things too. I thought it was very interesting.
That is interesting. One more one that I do want to just throw in there because we kind of were like, you're like, I would might do that, and I'm like, absolutely not. This is the year of surprise
Oh,
travel. Okay.
yes. Yes, we
They're
did talk about
saying
that.
that so the whole idea is you pack your bags, you don't know where you're going, and you don't find out until you arrive at your destination where your vacation is going to be. Would you do that?
Oh, absolutely. So there's two ways that surprise vacate travel is. One, like you said, you both of them, sorry, are you pack your bags and you either show up at the airport and then you just buy the next flight out, wherever that is. Like you have, that's if you're planning it on your own. The other option is you have someone plan it for you. You give them like a budget, you give them um all your information, and then they plan it. And like you said, when they show up at the airport or their destination, depending on how they're traveling, that's when they find out where they are and what's planned. I would absolutely do that for two reasons. One, I love surprises. And two, if I were to get someone to plan that for me, that would mean I'd be showing up and not have to worry about anything. It's all done. Like I just look at my itinerary. It's stressful, yes, and I couldn't do it for a long trip, but like a 2 or 3 day
Just
one would be great.
Mm-mm. So I don't like surprises. I I think I'm not gonna say it's the OCD on me, but it's just like I always am gonna want to know where I'm going. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's just not my bag. But kudos to everybody else that wants to do it. Hopefully
Would
they'll
you
be
as
trying
a how would you like planning it for someone? Would you get excited or
planning
would it
it.
stress you out?
No. I wouldn't mind planning it for somebody for
Yeah.
them not where they're going. That's just another day in my travel agent, repertoire. But uh I personally, on the receiving end, I would want to know where I'm going to travel. That's all. That's just me.
Good to know. So I won't be planning any surprise suitcase diva trips. Maybe. We'll see. We
You
might
know,
get you to venture out a little bit.
I'm trying. I'm a creature of habit for real, but I'm trying to get
That's
better
why we
about
work well because you kind of
that.
keep us on track. And when I want to go, ooh, what's over here? You're like, hey, that's not on our list.
Yeah,
So it
right. And
works
then you
out
keep
well.
me on track in many other ways. So preach.
Yes. All right. Well, what a great chat we had today. I love learning about the trends that were up and coming. And some of these, like you said, we actually have been working on for clients and others. I think we'll be better prepared now. That's part of our
Yeah,
job to
and let
keep
us
track of the
know
trends.
if you fall on that list or if you're doing something that we mentioned, let us know.
Yeah.
And if there's something that we didn't mention that you think is a 2024 travel trend, then let us know that too. We always love to hear from our listeners. So
Right.
with that, I think we are wrapping up this episode. So y'all have a great day.
Bye, guys.